Hi Joe, so I'm Nival. I come from a medical background, so I've been practicing medicine from around 2015, so 8 to 10 years basically. But along the way, I kind of, had to look into, I've been working in hospitals, clinics, treating patients with different chronic diseases and stuff. So along the way, I've been thinking how best to tackle this problem, especially the issue of non-communicable diseases, chronic diseases. So along the way, I got interested in preventive medicine and longevity, and also how best to utilize technology to tackle it. So along the way, I did a master's in biomedical informatics as well. So it's basically working at the intersection of health and technology, including AI. So with both of these backgrounds, I came to Dubai. I practiced for some time as a primary care doctor. And then I met Daniel, whose vision was to basically optimize the health and fitness of individuals through preventive medicine, through cutting edge technology, and also with the focus on longevity, of course. So that really interested me. So it kind of aligned with my vision. So yeah, I'm in Elite Vita. So I'm working as the medical director at Elite Vita here. So our primary focus is to, as I said, optimize the health and longevity of our clients through various preventive measures. So I think healthcare should, spend more money, more focus, more emphasis on prevention rather than cure. It makes sense financially, socially, as well as purely on a health basis. So I think, yeah, that's a little bit of who I am.
Thank you.
Coming from different backgrounds. So
Thank you. You spoke about longevity, and
yes,
NAD in particular, something that you're specialized in, has become a very hot topic when it comes to biohacking longevity. For the audience, would you mind breaking this down to what it actually is and what it actually does at a cellular level, and why is it gaining so much traction?
Right, yeah, that's an interesting question. So, just to go to the fundamentals. So, NAD, we all have NAD in our bodies. So, it basically acts in the mitochondria of our cells. So, mitochondria is like the engine of our cells. So, it produces energy that is required for each and every function. So, NAD is involved basically in the reaction of converting the energy we take from food into the energy that we can use. So, it's basically like the ignition system of an engine, where you transfer the energy of fuel into something that we can use. So NAD is vital. So without it, we would die. So, but what happens is naturally as we age, by the time we are 35 to 40-ish, depending on your lifestyle and diet, of course, we tend to lose 50 to 60% of our NAD levels.
Wow, it starts to decline.
So basically that then impacts whole body, right? The energy production, your energy levels, your mental clarity, everything. So that's why we believe in supplementing NAD from outside, and that's why it has gained traction. So short term, especially with IV NAD, people experience stuff like improved energy levels, better sleep, more mental clarity, things like that. So those are some of the shorter term benefits that people experience. But beyond that, on a scientific level, so there have been recent research, especially from people like Dr. David Sinclair at Harvard. They have found that NAD and related molecules are involved in slowing down the biological aging process. And aging, as you know, is it's the biggest risk factor for all our chronic diseases, basically, from diabetes to dementia, heart disease, everything.
And your biological, sorry, Dr. Nival.
Yeah.
Your just for those that are listening, your biological age is very different to your chronological age, correct?
Yes. Now we have a different ways of measuring these things, which are not up to a certain level that you can just do a simple test and get the accurate results. But research shows that it's quite different depending on your lifestyle, your diet, everything, your genetics. So what happens is, as we age, there are processes. There are set of genes in our bodies called longevity genes. We also call them survival genes. These are the ones that does the housekeeping stuff for us, repairs our DNA, make sure our genes are expressed at the right time. So that means basically your functions or systems are functioning smoothly. So, but over time, these longevity genes become faulty, inefficient. So that's thought to be a main cause of aging as well. And the curious thing, the interesting thing is these NAD, these longevity genes are highly dependent on NAD.
Interesting.
So you can sort of connect the dots now. So because NAD levels go down and this becomes inefficient, and then our aging processes accelerate. So by giving NAD as a supplement, initially in mice and then now in humans, it's found that it can slow down the biological aging process. So in humans, it's an ongoing investigation. We will have like 5 to 10 years more until we get robust data on it. But in animal studies, the findings are very clear. So yeah, that's why it's promising on a longevity basis, longevity perspective.
Yeah, and for those that perhaps don't understand NAD, you mentioned it as a supplement. Do you mind just describing or painting a picture of how this would be supplemented to an individual through an IV, or is it an actual supplement that we consume?
Yes, so there are different ways you can get NAD into the body. So at clinics, what we typically do is we give what we call an IV infusion. We put a cannula, and then through a IV drip, we infuse NAD. So it will take like 2 to 3 hours to give it a rate that is properly absorbed. So that's one form. We also have the so-called oral supplements. So there are two types. People also sell NAD as oral supplement, which basically doesn't work because it's metabolized in the gut, so it's almost has zero bioavailability when it comes to the blood. But there are precursors of NAD sort NMNR, so they have some 20 to 30% ranging bioavailability, so they could work in the longer term. So those are the two types. But for the shorter term benefits, if you're talking about the stuff we talked about in the shorter term, improved energy, clarity, things like that, IV is usually the preferred way because it has practically 100% bioavailability because it goes straight to your blood. Those are some of the ways that people take NAD.
And you mentioned it can be done, it's performed over a 3-hour treatment period. And I know this is perhaps quite a generic answer because everybody's individualized, but is there like a loading phase and then a maintenance phase thereafter?
Yeah, you're correct. So when it comes to NAD, the protocols are also quite important. So how you give it to the client. So basically what we do is, because like if you're not taken NAD very recently, so what we assume is, according to the research evidence we have, your NAD levels, as I just told you, likely to be quite low. So what we do is we try to get it to a baseline level, an optimal level. We do a loading phase of 3 drips over 3 to 5 days. That's kind of an intense period. So to get your levels up, replenish your levels, and then we kind of can do a maintenance treatment every month, every 2 weeks, depending on your requirement and your needs. We do a maintenance phase after that. Yeah, that's how the usual protocol is, but of course it changes according to your requirement, because NAD is also used for a lot of other purposes, such as people use it for addiction recovery, for example. Then the protocols would be different. But for longevity purposes, that is the like kind of the usual protocol.
Understood. And NAD, like anything else, once somebody releases this, and in Dubai, as you know, the wellness scene is evolving very fast. So I'm assuming there's a few competitors that also offer NAD. But for those that perhaps have concerns or are skeptical, as you mentioned, there's studies on animals and research on animals, but also as humans as well. What are some of the skepticisms that some people might have, or some of the barriers to entry that people might have, that you could perhaps help address and help ease their mind?
All right, so I think one of these things is the quality of NAD that people offer. NAD, it's all about the purity and the stability. So those are the crucial things, I'd say, because these are formulated in compounding pharmacy. So as clinic, we don't do it on our own. We use a compounding pharmacy to do that. So then as a person who is using NAD, I think you should do your own research as well. So basically what it's about is, for the compounding pharmacy, they should have the appropriate certification. We call it the certificate of analysis. And also it should be regulated by, for example, here in the UAE, Ministry of Health and Prevention regulates these pharmacies. So they should have all the approvals. But apart from that, the crucial thing is third-party testing.
Okay.
So third party testing is important. And in the third party testing, they do what you call a batch testing. So each batch is tested for purity and the quality. So it's done by a third party to ensure these are
There's no
the
bias.
formulation. Yeah. So yeah, those are the things that are important. And also the storage, when you store it, it should be stored in a refrigerator and it should be stored in a dark place because NAD is quite unstable. Those are some of the practical stuff. But yeah, the quality control part is quite important when you are choosing a provider.
Okay, and you actually answered one of my upcoming questions, which was around
All
third-party
right.
testing. You
All right.
alluded to it quite considerably then. But in regards to third-party testing, I assume this is something that's quite high on EliteVita and yourselves, because ultimately you've got the
Yes.
customer, the client, the consumer that you have to face with this. How do you ensure that it's been third-party tested, or how have you ensured that you've gone to the right compounding pharmacy? I'm assuming that you've done your research.
Yes. So when we first started here, we actually reviewed all the providers of compounding pharmacies, and then we did our own research as well. So basically, as I told you, so the compounding pharmacy we have chosen, we believe that's the best one in terms of quality.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the batch testing is one of the crucial steps. So what they usually do is each batch, the system is connected to a different company that do the testing, and while the testing is done, the compounding pharmacy cannot access the systems or the processes. So it's like shut down and the testing is run and then you give the results. So that is the batch testing in there is quite crucial. So we have ensured that that's being done. And also the continuous regulation by the local authorities, including the Ministry of Health, so and the certificate of analysis that they provide. So those are the couple of things that we look at. And also when you are practically taking NAD, when you do the practical testing, you can sort of see the quality, because the ranging from the package or how it makes you feel, everything. So we have done the practical research as well, but the important bit is of course the certificate of analysis as well as the batch testing that our compounding pharmacy does.
Yeah, and not to allude or distract from the conversation so far, but a few clients and customers that I know have shared valuable experiences from having an NAD for yourself via somebody else, and
Yes.
they say it's completely different to anywhere else that they've tried in terms of the quality, how it made them feel.
Yes.
So it goes to show that you do your validation and checks and third-party
Yes.
testing, etc., which is very important. You mentioned supplementation earlier and how the supplement NAD in itself is perhaps not worth it. There's precursors out there like NMN.
Yes.
They're often shared alongside NAD IV therapy. But do they work simultaneously? Do they work very differently? Are precursors a replacement for NAD? Because it can get quite confusing out there. And do they work best in conjunction or separately, or would you just decide not to have either of one of those and keep them quite separate altogether, or there is a way to synergize them?
So basically, I wouldn't say it's a replacement for NAD. The major difference would be because the IV NAD is 100% bioavailable and it goes quickly into your body. The shorter term benefits that a lot of people want to have, improved energy levels, because people are busy here. They want to feel energized, and also the other benefits such as mental clarity, how it makes you feel, sleep better. So these things, the short-term benefits are not there with the precursors because the doses are low and the absorption is slow and the bioavailability is slow. But if you're looking for the longevity benefits that we discussed about, it could work. These precursors could work, but then the difficult thing is because the bioavailability varies, then you have to first do your own research in terms of that as well. What is the product you use? Because these things are sold as supplements, so it's less regulated.
Yes.
So ranging from the production to how you store it, the warehouse conditions, these things are because these are very unstable molecules. So these can all affect what is the final dose you're taking. So that is a bit of a tricky thing about precursors. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, in doing my research for this interview with yourself, I came across an article just yesterday, I think it was, about the quality
Right.
control of the supplement industry. I've been in the fitness industry for a long time. I know it's unregulated in terms of supplementation. Even hearing
Yeah.
just lately that companies can just create their own labels and put any type of ingredient inside the package, and it somewhat looks very replica to a brand. And I
Yeah.
read Chromadex tested close to 40 NR brands, including some of the biggest sellers that I won't mention, and they found that
Yeah.
they contained a little as 5% of the actual ingredient that they claimed on the label.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
how would one ensure that they are getting, if they are purchasing supplements, how would one ensure that they are getting the right supplement?
So again, one of the crucial things is the third-party testing processes, and then that is one of the important things, because then that we ensure that somebody else is actually doing the quality testing. And also there is something called good manufacturing practices that is also important. You have that certification, but apart from that, you have to look into the fact that what kind of research has been done using this exact product. But then it also becomes tricky because the company itself do their own research, so then there's a conflict of interest there, so you have to factor in. But at least if they have done some kind of research and have stand the scrutiny of other independent reviewers, so that means then they are caring about their product. So you have to find out whether there's research being done on this particular product being useful. And also then where do you purchase it? For example, if you're buying some sort of it's through some generic e-commerce store, then the warehouse conditions with the temperature control, whether it's ideal for the supplements, so that has to be taken into account as well. So the reputation of the person who are selling it, I think those are some of the key areas. Yeah, and also once you get the supplement, you have to ensure that, I mean, you are storing it in a proper way as well, so that it's, because it does, if it degrades, then you're not taking the effective dose as well.
Of course.
Yeah, those are some of the things. Yeah.
And not forgetting to remind people that to take it consistently, which perhaps people don't do so often. There's too many things that
Yeah.
could go possibly wrong with this. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing and being very transparent and sharing your opinion on this. Going back to the NAD drip itself, and again, just trying to paint a picture for those that are watching or listening to this, there has been experiences of those that once they've had the NAD, they feel exhausted
Right.
after the NAD. But then there's other times when clients have shared that they feel absolutely amazing. Do you mind just sharing why that might well be? Why one person might feel really exhausted, even want to go sleep beyond the NAD itself, over those that have had the NAD drip and feel pretty amazing, alive and jumping around.
Yeah, so we experience that as well in our practice. So I think one of the key reasons is specifically if you're feeling exhausted after the ND drip, so that could mean your mitochondrial health is not in an ideal status. So we talked about the mitochondria being the engine of the cell. So basically, once you give the NAD from outside, then you are getting a huge load of fuel and the ignition system, so your system need to be ready to produce energy using that. So if your system is not ready, that load can be a bit difficult to handle. So by which I mean, like mitochondrial health, apart from NAD, there are a few other factors, such as there are several key vitamin B types, such as vitamin B3 and B2, that affects the mitochondrial health. Magnesium, your magnesium levels, and also things like coenzyme Q10. There's all these things affect your mitochondrial health. So if these are not ideal on an ideal status, your body stores are not ideal, then you can't handle the NAD load that's being given. So that can cause a bit of an exhaustion in the system. Also, NAD, affects these longevity genes, as I told you. So it then initiates a cascade of detox reactions. So this kind of thing can you make feel you a bit of a fatigue as well. But coming back to that mitochondrial health thing, so that's why when we usually do our protocols, we ensure that they're not just getting the NAD, we also give them the other stuff that is needed to synergistically work better. So for example, the vitamin drips containing vitamins, vitamin B's and magnesium, would help, and also other stuff like coenzyme Q10. If you are, I mean, after assessment, if you feel that this thing will be lacking, so we can give it as a supplement as well.
Okay.
So I think it's all about doing a holistic assessment and then going for a comprehensive action plan, not just the NAD itself, because that will make sure that you are getting the benefits of NAD maximally as well.
And I believe you do this as well at the clinic. You do some baseline testing. You do blood work. You do
Yeah.
analyze the blood work. You do DNA testing, correct?
Of course, yeah. So that's how actually that's where our process starts. So we do the DNA analysis as well as blood biomarker testing,
Mm-hmm.
and then we combine both of this information to develop a personalized action plan. And NAD is part of that plan. So yeah, so that's our approach. So we believe in a holistic approach, because and also a personalized approach because each person is different. And you asked me about the people having different, I mean, experiences and reactions and skepticism regarding NAD. So I think it's also about this plan they have or the protocols they have. So if this is not properly done, then you're just giving false claims, and people are having wrong expectations. And sometimes it's how you pitch it as well. Some people, the other day Daniel was talking with me about an advertisement that he saw. After one NAD drip, you'll become 5 years younger. So yeah, that kind of a
But you're
thing.
right. That comes back to the false advertising, right? And the clickbait.
Yeah,
And also it gives the false assumption to someone.
yeah,
And I suppose that's a difficulty that you have. And I think that goes back to my earlier question as well, which I didn't ask so well, which was how do you overcome these claims that people have seen this advert, they come to you just expecting to have an NA drip without any testing, and for what you know is they're perhaps unhealthy, they're not looking after anything else, there's no foundational health to what they're doing, they're just seeing this as a miracle cure, they want the NAD,
yeah,
and then they're hoping to feel something after, but it didn't quite succeed what they was hoping for. Hence
yeah.
why I like the fact that you do this baseline testing, you do the blood biomarker work, so that you can give them a very informed piece of
Yes.
information about what steps to take next.
And also the education part. So we always have an initial consultation with the client before we do
Mm-hmm.
anything. So we try to understand where they're coming from, what are their health goals and conditions. And yeah, so that also we explain what are the, I mean, how you would experience NAD, what are the benefits you're likely to get, how you should persist with it. So all these things help us to manage the expectations as well as, I mean, give a personalized plan that will actually work for them. And
Yeah.
so that's how
We can go
we
down
sort
a
of
rabbit
try
hole
to
with
overcome it.
we can go down a rabbit hole with claims that
Yeah.
people offer personalized plans when actually they don't as such. But I'm glad that you guys
Yeah.
do. You mentioned how some people might need CoQ10 or they might need vitamin B. This kind of leads to my next question, where could we combine NAD therapy with other treatments like other IV nutrients, or even hyperbaric
Yeah.
chamber or red light that I know that you're experiencing at the clinic right now? Based on what you
Yes.
know about NAD+, what are some of the benefits of stacking these with other modalities, other than saving time, of course?
Usually, how our body works is like any kind of beneficial treatments. If you put them together, they tend to work synergistically in our body.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what that means is it's like a 1+1 = 3 scenario. So if you would give either of treatments alone, the effect would be 1. But if you give it together, it will be more than 2. So more than the sum of its parts. So that's how usually our body works. So specifically to the treatments you mentioned, for example, I mean, it goes back again to the mitochondrial health thing I just mentioned. So specifically, what I like about red light therapy is basically it acts on this thing called cytochrome oxidase C in the mitochondria. So basically, that boosts our ATP production and improves our mitochondrial health, and then it provides a better environment for NAD to work. So it definitely works synergistically with red light therapy. So or the near infrared red light therapy, I think
Mm-hmm.
that is specifically. So these two works well because, as I said, for NAD to work at an optimal level, your mitochondrial health should be, I mean, close to optimal as well. So that's one of the things we can do to make the environment better for NAD. So it definitely works together well. And vitamin B's, as I told you, like base, I mean, they have, so there are different hubs in our mitochondria that is enhanced by certain micronutrients. So vitamin B's are one of those key micronutrients that works on this. And also it involves processes like methylation, which
Mhm.
involve the gene expression. So these are optimized by vitamin B as well. So these work really well with NAD. So that's why we believe in the vitamin drips as well, giving together with NAD. And yeah, so those are some of the things that we think when we are doing the personalized plan. Those are some of things we look at, especially with IV and AD. Yeah, so I mean, it obviously depends on the person, because when we do the testing, we identify what are the deficiencies he or she might have, what are the things they have increased need for. So based on that, the dosages and specific nutrients and treatments might vary. But in
Mhm.
general, stacking definitely works, because again, it goes back to the holistic approach. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I believe that you offer this service at home as well, which can be very convenient for people. So, especially in the loading phase where it perhaps isn't so
Mhm.
convenient to come to the clinic 3 or 4 times a
Yeah,
week. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that you offer this treatment as a
of course.
home
Yeah.
service as well.
We do offer home services. So basically, what we believe is like the first trip, it's ideal if you take it at the clinic,
Mm.
because then we can closely monitor you, see what kind of rate is better for you depending on your reaction, and observe for any reactions, and kind of taking care of you and assessing how you respond to the, especially for NAD. So yeah, that's it. So once you do the first drip here at the clinic, then we can provide it at home, at your office, wherever you're convenient, it's convenient for you.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's perfectly safe, as long as we administer it in a proper way. Yeah.
Perfect. And I think they're in good, safe hands when it's by yourself. And just for the people that are listening or watching this, where can they find your clinic, and how can they find out more information about yourself and also the clinic itself?
Yeah, so we're based in Dubai Healthcare City,
Hmm.
just next to the Raffles Hotel. So we are. You can find all the information about us in our websites. It's elitevita.ae. So those will contain details about our protocols and our services as well. But if you want to book a consultation, I think we can share the number or put it in the description. We can do it. You can contact our team, and we'll usually do an initial consultation with you, as I said, to understand your needs. And yeah, then we'll take it from there.
Perfect. Dr. Nivel, thank you very much. I want to keep you
Thanks.
to the time that I promised. But do you have any lasting words that you'd just like to share based on your experience so far with the audience before we finish and close?
Yeah, and thanks a lot for having me here, Joe. I appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, for us as a team, I think our passion and our vision is to help people in their journey. And specifically, I think looking at the sufferings and people, especially at the later stages of our life due to these chronic diseases, I think it's a very sad thing to see when we see something that's preventable but it's not being done due to a lack of awareness. And even in the medical community, I think awareness is lacking in terms of how we can prevent these things, because as I said in the beginning, it involves saving not just health. It's not just about having a better health, but it's socially, financially, it makes sense.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's what we believe in, optimizing your health. And have it's not just about living long, but it's about having a healthy and fit life, especially at your later years. So that's what we believe in, and that's what we are here to do. So yeah, we're looking
Thank you.
forward to our journey here in the UAE as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Nivel.
Thanks a lot, Joe. Thanks.